Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode number 193. I am Mox Born again. I have with me, it's my angel.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Doing okay.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
So I'm okay.
That's good. Normally it's I'm tired, I'm full, I'm sleepy. But you're okay?
I'm okay.
We had some good food yesterday.
We did.
Normally we would be recording yesterday. We would record on Wednesday night, but we had some good food, and we rented a game and we rented a movie, which we haven't done in a while.
You can take that back tonight, by the way.
Oh yeah, you got to take the movie back, which we will be talking about today. But yeah, we got a good show. Got a good show planned for you today. Quite a bit to talk about, and a whole bunch of fun stuff that we can discuss and have some fun with. Let's see here. So we want to start with what we've been playing. Our gaming stack.
I haven't played anything.
Oh, well, I've got a list. I have a list. I've got a couple mobile games that I started playing, and if any. Oh, excuse me. Whoa, that was weird. I don't know what that was.
Oh my goodness.
I might be dying. Am I turning into a frog?
I don't know. It sounded like you swallowed a helium balloon there for a second.
I inflated my lungs with helium. So that's my superhero power. Well, first off, a couple weeks ago, and I don't know why we didn't talk about it, but we've been playing Sunset Overdrive. For the last couple weeks in April, it was a free game to download on the Xbox One with Games for Gold, and yeah, it's a badass game. It's a little over 2 years old, so it's a fairly old game. But if you haven't played it, you're late to pick it up free. But if you did pick it up and haven't played it, I highly suggest you do. It's a lot of fun. It kind of mixes a couple different genres. You've got like Tony Hawk, like the grinding of Tony Hawk, and like the movement of Mirror's Edge, where you're doing like a lot of parkour kind of stuff in third person. You've got like it's got like the shooting aspects. It kind of like the maybe not Tony Hawk and Mirror's Edge as much as Crackdown. Remember Crackdown on the original Xbox? I think
Maybe. I don't think I ever played it, but
no, I think you did. I'm pretty the one where you collect the orbs, you could jump all over the city or
I
whatever.
watched you play. I don't know.
It's a lot like that. I think the movement is more like that. Tony Hawk's kind of a loose affiliation because you can grind on anything. That's about it. And it's like it's a third person shooter, and it kind of has other aspects of like Dead Rising, where you are basically picking up quests for people. They're very linear quests where you pick a quest, pick up something from talk to this guy. He gives you a quest to go talk to this guy, who then tells you to go pick up these 3 things and bring them back. And then after you do that, you go back and talk. So I mean, it's very linear, but like the gameplay is really fun. The weapons are very unique. Like the one weapon I picked up was shooting. You were able to shoot. I think it was stuffed animals, stuffed bears that explode.
No.
That's kind of cool, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I created a weapon that lets me basically charge up some type of helium tank that explodes, that shoots out a bowling ball. So that's kind of neat. There's also I've got a like slingshot thing that shoots an automatic vinyl record shooter. So it just shoots vinyl records and decapitates people and things. It's pretty badass. So it doesn't really take itself very seriously. It's very comical. Like when you die, there's a whole bunch of different respawn animations. So like one of them, like a DeLorean flies in or whatever, and you step out from the driver's seat, and Doc Martin jumps in and flies off or whatever. There's one where you come back from like a zombie, like from a coffin, like a vampire. There's a whole bunch of them. It's really neat. They also kind of in the sense of Deadpool, it kind of breaks the fourth wall where it talks to the player a lot, where it says, or like you've got like the kind of announcer's voice or whatever that kind of narrates the story or whatever, the narrator will talk to you in like, oh, and this is just the way this works because we're a video game and that's how this happens. Like, or like the one girl in the that you have an interaction with after the conversation, she goes, well, I'll be off now, and by the time you regain control of the character, I will be out of sight. So like there's like it's just kind of funny how they don't take themselves very seriously at all. Um, so it's a really fun game. I highly recommend it. The other game that I'm playing that we rented this past last night was Battleborn. This is the new game from Gearbox, the team that made you said last night. What was it? Borderlands 1 and 2. I'm gonna say I've only played the first level of it, about an hour into it, and to me it feels like just a generic version of Borderlands. Kind of sad to say. The graphics are amazing, but the one thing that I like that they carried over from Borderlands is when it's a first person shooter, and your character has special abilities and you kind of augment them or whatever as you level up, with just like you do in Borderlands. But shoot the enemy and the numbers fall out of them, so it tells you how much damage you're doing or if you're doing critical hits. That's the one thing that I did enjoy carrying over. But like they almost dumbed everything down. So like when you level up, you now only can pick between two different two different skills, and they're all passive. So like you have like two abilities or two or three abilities that you can basically augment, like either how much damage they can do additional damage, like different types of damage, they can do, things like that. So like rather than having like these four trees that you can kind of pick through and see what you want to do, like this really doesn't. I don't know. It just feels, The other thing that they did different, they did the same but different, is all their chests. Well, at least not all of them. All the ones that I've come across, you don't open, you shoot them, and they kind of spring open. And I was just like, it just feels like it's like, yeah, we had that one game that was really successful. How can we make something like that but not the same? I don't know. And after you beat the first level, you unlock like 15 characters. So I haven't played any of these other characters. I don't know how they work. I have no idea. My other complaints about it, and then I'll be done with it, is Borderlands had the cinematics, had the cutscenes where it showed a couple of things in game, right? Where like Handsome Jack would come out and say something funny or whatever, like right before battle, right? There was like very snippet, like small snippets of
little introductions,
right? Introductions and stuff like that. This game has that, and it's in game and stuff like that. That's great, but it also has two other types of cinematics. So it has this really kind of neat, and I was excited because the opening intro was badass. The opening intro is like 5-6 minutes long, and it's anime. It's like all anime style, which is really neat. I'm really excited for that. But after that beginning intro, I haven't seen any more of it, right? So then, like, after you beat the first level, it goes into another type of cinematic where, like, it's like 3D characters, but they're not moving or talking. They're just kind of like still images, and people are talking and and scenes are. It's kind of like a comic book almost. And I feel like they were like when they were designing, and at least designing the first hour again, and I will come back the next week and talk about it. But designing this first hour of the game was like, let's put a whole bunch of things on the wall and just throw darts, and then we'll just put that shit in the game. Right? So I'm sad to say I'm not impressed with the first hour at all. So we'll have more. We'll talk more about it next week. So you want to talk about some talk about some shows?
Sure.
Okay. Want to talk about Game of Thrones?
Sure.
What do you want to start with? Game of Thrones. We could talk about
Once Upon a Time. Season finale coming up.
Season finales tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Sunday. This week has been all over the place.
I know.
So.
Yeah.
We also have Fear the Walking Dead.
Did we podcast last week?
We did not podcast last week.
So I'm trying to remember 2 weeks back, which is going to be kind of rough. But at any rate,
they got out of hell.
Right. basically, the episode before last, I think, is the one with Regina and her mom. And Regina kind of finds out the history that she and Zelina had together, that they once knew each other as little girls, that the mom had taken the memories from them and all of that. And it was really, I really enjoyed that little bit of backstory, and seeing how her mom had kind of changed in a way, which enabled her to move on, which was kind of nice. But you see a relationship starting to form between Zelina, which you thought would never happen, and Regina. And Regina at the end of the episode says, you know what? If he's your true love, I'm going to trust you to go to Hades. Maybe you can change him. You know, I want you to have your happy ending like I have mine right now.
Right.
And so things progress. We find out that Emma cannot take Hook back to land with her because he's been dead for a long time.
He's rotting.
Basically, yeah. So
Hook could come back as a zombie.
Jeez.
All
So
I wanna do is eat. Yeah.
yeah, no.
No one's gonna touch your eyes.
So we Hades sends Emma and Hook on this quest for this berries or this fruit that is supposed to allow him to come back to the world alive and everything. We come to find out that basically Hades sabotaged everybody. He took Zelina and Robin Hood's baby. They went back to our world. So they're in Storybrooke trapping all of our people there. They found out about it. Emma realizes she has to leave Hook, and all the heroes leave with Hook in the underworld. So come to this week's episode. We kind of get more into what's Hades' real motive. Yes, he loves Zelina, but he still has this lust for power.
Yeah.
He wants to rule. He doesn't want to just live there happily ever after, but he wants to rule the... What's the matter? Too loud?
No, you're
Okay.
fine. You're fine.
He wants to rule Storybrooke. This is going to be his kingdom. You know, he says, I was meant to rule a kingdom, and it's going to be Storybrooke. So...
And she wasn't really down for that.
No,
She's
Zelina...
like, why can't we just live here?
Right. She starts to kind of see what he's about, and it's interesting to see how she's changed too, because she would have been all for that at one point. So it really does show that she has had some change of heart. So our heroes kind of find out what's happening. Hook in the underworld meets up with Arthur, which I found that kind of interesting that Hades killed Arthur, right?
I think he's got bigger plans for Arthur.
Well, I thought he did.
Oh, you think so? Oh, no, because he's passed on.
Right. I thought he did. I thought he had
That's
a reason
right.
for sending Arthur to the underworld.
He was just kind of being a douche.
To keep Hook, right. I thought it was to keep Hook away from any information. But really, Arthur and Hook kind of go on this quest to try to find something that will help the heroes in Storybrooke defeat Hades, which they do. They find the missing pages from the storybook. He manages to kind of transport it to Emma, and they defeat him. But before that happens, Hades tries to kill Regina. Robin Hood steps in and gets killed.
Bites the dust.
And not only killed, but in the method in which he gets killed is from this...
it's like a
it's
stone.
a shard of some Olympian
Something from Zeus, I think.
Right. So basically, it kills you.
It super kills you.
Super kills you. It's like you never existed. So you have no soul. Your soul doesn't go to heaven. It doesn't go to hell. It doesn't go to
Underworld.
It just, you cease to exist.
Your body's
totally
still
and
there.
completely. Right. But your soul totally and completely ceases to exist. So there's really no bringing him back. There's no anything. You're
That
just
sucks.
gone.
I liked Robin Hood.
Yeah, a lot of the fans are pretty pissed because we see something kind of similar here. You know, Emma's lost her love. Regina's lost her, this is supposed to be her true love. He has the lion tattoo that was kind of foretold to be her true love and everything. And Regina's gotten screwed over so many times. I mean,
Right.
between her mom killing her boyfriend back when the stable boy, Daniel,
Right.
this thing with Robin Hood here, she just continuously gets screwed over. It's like, when is she going to find her happy ending?
Well, she's a villain. I don't think she's going to. I think
But
that's
she's changed. That's the thing is, part of it is you have to have hope and villains can change. That's part of kind of the storyline too.
Right. Well, and I think I think they're setting up for next season because they signed on for another season, right?
Yes.
So I think they're setting up for next season. I think she's going to probably go back to the role of being the villain with Gold.
Which kind of is what it appears to be like in this next preview. Is a 2-hour season finale this
Holy
week.
shit.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
starts at
long
7.
2 hours.
No, it's not.
Sorry.
But at any rate, so right, we see Emma and Regina have this thing in common. They're both mourning their loves or whatever. We see Hook. He actually gets this light. As soon as Hades has been defeated, this light opens up, and he's like, "Oh, I get to move on," which I told Emma I would do. So he goes. You meet Zeus, who appears way younger than one would think.
Right.
Especially, with Hades looked quite a bit older. At any rate, he tells Hook, all right, you know what? You did some wonderful things. Thank you so much for helping me with my, he's been defeated. You can now move on to where you're supposed to be, is what he says, where you're supposed to be.
Where are you supposed to be?
On Earth. So we see him, Emma's in the graveyard grieving, and they're having Robin's funeral, which has just ended, and Hook comes up. Now, a lot of people are really kind of pissed about this, even though they like Hook.
I feel like it's a cop-out.
A lot of people are kind of
Robin.
saying that, yeah. That why can't Robin help defeat Hades? Why can't he? But of course, then they said, oh, his soul's completely gone.
Right? Yeah. They
wrote that in.
They wrote that in, so he's not coming back.
Right. But a lot of people are kind of mad about that, particularly about the fact that Regina can't seem to get her happy ending. But it does, like you said, it sets you up for Regina possibly coming back to her evil ways. So I don't know. I personally like it. I'm happy with how it's going. But then again, I didn't want to see Colin O'Donoghue off the show. Not that I'm happy Robin Hood got killed off either. I did think his character had a lot more development, a lot more backstory to be seen, and I think there was more to him than what we had been able to, I think they just kind of scratched the surface with him. But it'll be interesting. I feel like they have a plan. These are the writers of Lost.
I would hope they have a plan.
Well, I mean, these are the people who wrote Lost.
Oh, right. So they don't really know where they're going.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Lost had. I felt had a very good overall. Once you start looking at it,
the character interaction was really good.
Right, and so I feel like they have a plan for why they're doing this, but we'll see.
Okay. Game of Thrones. Jon Snow is pissed.
He's back.
He's back. He's pissed. I think the most powerful scene this season was him hanging the betrayers that stabbed him. The 4 people that were, I guess there had to have been more than 4. I don't know where the hell they are. Where the hell they all are. There we go. But you kind of have the 4 different types of people. The one guy is pleading, can you please tell my wife that I died by killed White Walkers or something like that. He wants to be perceived as a hero,
traitor,
right, and marked as a traitor. The other guy, the other commander was like, if I had to do it again, I would. Fuck you.
Right, I made the right choice.
I made the right choice. And then
I don't remember the others.
The kid. I don't remember the
he
third
didn't
guy.
Say anything, but
I think the third guy just said, what did the third guy say? I can't remember off the top of my head now.
No. But you're right. I
think one of them plead for his life or something like that.
Maybe I don't remember.
I don't remember. But
anyway.
the kid just stared at him, and I think
basically dared him.
Yeah, basically dared him. So they ended up hanging them, and they literally strangled to death. They did not break their necks. It was not a clean death. But while they were sitting there strangling to death, while they were losing, consciousness, you see it pans over to Snow, and you can just see him thinking about cutting the rope and saving them, or at least the boy.
I think it was a very defining moment for him and who he's setting out to be.
Well, I think if it was John before he died, he would have saved the boy. I think he would have cut the boy down and let the other ones die.
I don't know. I mean, he's always been very by the rules,
right?
To an extent. I mean, he did break the rules by sleeping with Egret and all that, which that's after you've taken an oath, you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
But, traitor, you're a traitor. Who was it? There was another traitor, I think, that he chopped the head off of. I can't remember who it was. But he's, and his dad was very that way. This is the law. This is how
I was in the
we're
first
gonna do
episode.
things.
So
Well, his dad did, yeah. But I think John did though later on.
right.
But no, I think he's strong, but he has a lot of humanity in him, which is very much like
Which is weird because he's a dead man.
Ned. Well, yeah.
Right.
I think he's questioning a lot of why he's. I mean, you see him asking the
How is
Onion
it
Knight, Sir Davos, like, why am I here?
Right.
I was dead. I shouldn't be here. And
Right.
he's even questioning his existence right now. And you see the wildling leader, saying, they think you're a god, but I know you're not. But
Because look at your pecker.
right, that was a
It's
pretty good exchange.
It's all your pecker.
Right.
No god has that small of a pecker.
Yeah, but
I think it's a good bond that him and the wildlings have, and it kind of goes to show you that they're not savages. They just got, like they said in, I think it was in a previous episode, they just happened to be on the wrong side of the wall when the wall went up.
yeah.
So
I mean, even the people in Westeros, they do savage things. They rape, they
oh
kill.
god, well the
they...
king is the whole Lannister family is incest. Like that's just all that's
right. So
gross.
they're the thing was they're bad. They come in, they steal, they sack our cities and rape everybody and kill. And I mean, okay, what have we seen? What wonderful things have we seen the other people doing?
Well, I mean, look at the High Sparrow. Like he's, pretending like he's a messenger of God and, judging everybody. Yet he does, when the thing that I find hilarious, and you can tell that he's a tyrant, the High Sparrow, because there was the interaction with him and Jaime Lannister, in one of the, I think it was in the Sun God, one of the gods, one of the temples or whatever.
Where Jaime wants to kill him.
Where Jaime basically threatens his life, and he says, "You know what? Go ahead and do it because I'm not afraid of death." And then all of a sudden, you see all of his little followers, show up with their crossbows, and it's like, if you actually
I'll be right back.
if you actually are, if you are actually a messenger of God like that, you won't need this type of protection. You don't need this type of protection or like intimidation factor. It just, and to me, it just seems, I really don't like the character. I really don't like. I don't like I don't like the way he's played. I really don't. I hate him on a level of Joffrey. He's very sick and demented in his own special way. So what else happened this past episode? So we got John back to kind of close out the John story. He after the four were hung, the traitors were hung for killing the Lord Commander. John basically turned over his cloak and turned over the Lord. He named a new Lord Commander, and he said, "My watch is done," which is interesting because he, their oath is till I part this world, or till death, till death stops me, or something like that. So it's I'm kind of curious where he's gonna go. He knows. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. He knows his father's dead. He knows. I'm trying to think if he knows if his brother is passed, or maybe he's going after Bronn. I don't know. But anyway, it was the whole John sequence is really good. We do see a few scenes with Arya, basically being trained by her captors and I think it was the Two-Faced God or whatever, House of the Two-Faced God. So that's that whole interaction where she's being trained basically to forget her past and forget, don't take up any names or anything like that, to kind of pledge her allegiance, I guess, would be the correct way to term it out. But yeah, it was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, and here comes Amanda. Is everything okay? We got the little one upstairs asking for something to drink. We do see Daenerys for a little bit. She is basically being, I can't remember, Angel will remember the name of the town. She's basically transported to the city where all the widowed Khan wives are, the queens and all that stuff, and like basically she is still on her quest for the Iron Throne. Let's see here. We don't know the dragon that she had with her, the black one. We do not know its whereabouts. The other dragons are still in captivity. And I think I'm trying to think. Hey, Amanda. Oh, okay. What's So we know I was talking about Daenerys and how she was. We had a brief kind of interaction with her. What city was she in now? What city is she in now? She's in the city with
Vastathrak. How do you say that? It's where the widows.
the
live
widows
for
of the
Dothraki.
Khans. Yeah. She's in that. She's in that city. We don't know where the black dragon is. We last saw the black dragon when it flew her out of the Colosseum. So that's the last time we know it's still
Her
alive.
other two have been let loose.
Right, by Tywin. No, not Tywin.
Tyrion.
So they have been. They're not. I don't think they've been let loose. I think they've taken off the collars and the chains. Which that whole interaction was actually really funny, especially when Tyrion. He walks back up to what's his name, and he goes, "If I ever have an idea like that again, punch me in the face." Yeah. So he basically goes down and unleashes the dragons, but they haven't left yet, I don't think. So, what else happened in this? We talked a little bit about Arya and her training and stuff like that.
She's been given her sight back.
She's been given her sight back. Yeah, I didn't get to that.
Sansa.
Sansa has not been captured.
No, but Rickon, who we've not seen in a few seasons, has.
Oh yeah.
Rickon and Asha, I think her name is, the wildling girl who they had taken in back when they were all still living in Winterfell. Bran had been attacked by a group of wildlings, and Asha was one of the girls, and she said, she said she would work for them. So they brought her in kind of as a servant, and she, upon Bran and Rickon's escape from Winterfell, she and Hodor took the two boys out. And at some point, Bran decided that he needed to travel north of the wall to try to find this three-eyed raven. And at that point, Asha decided, that's not really safe for Rickon. We're going to split off and go someplace else.
I didn't realize he was north of the wall. Huh. I knew he was in someplace freaking cold, but
I think they're north of the wall.
Are they north of the wall? That makes sense.
I believe so. But at any rate, yeah, so this is our first time seeing them since they've split off. Rickon was like 3 years old. Now he's grown.
He's huge now. Yeah, it's a little.
It's been some
but
time.
Ramsay, it's Ramsay, right? He's gonna do unspeakable things to them.
Hopefully not. I did see some of the people online were had some interesting conversation points.
Really?
The guy that brought them back is the son of somebody who was with Robb when they were marching south, and he kind of tested Robb in a way. And Robb didn't back down, and the dog bit his fingers off. It was the guy who the dog bit his fingers off, right? And Robb passed the test because he didn't back down. And so he pledged his loyalty to Rob. Well, this guy comes in and Ramsey says, you need to kneel to me.
Right.
And he says, no. He kind of does something similar to his dad does. I'm not going to kneel to you. However, I brought you this present. And Ramsey backs down. Okay, you don't have to kneel.
Right, yeah.
So kind of wondering, is this a test? Did he not pass it? Is he gonna, what's gonna happen with this?
Yeah, he needs to feel a whole bunch of unimaginable pain for just the whole God, I'm terrible with names. Jesus. What's the Ironborn's name?
Theon.
Reek. Good God. Just the things he did to him.
Yeah.
Mentally, not even physically, mentally, screwed that dude horribly.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting though to see, is this guy just gonna hand over, and if so, what are they gonna do to him, or is he putting him through some kind of a test to see what his character is like?
So when you were upstairs, I was trying to remember, since going back to John, since John has been on the wall, which is pretty much the entire series. Mm-hmm. He knows that his father's dead. Does he know that his brother Rob is dead?
I think so.
I'm trying to think where he's gonna go. Where is he gonna go? Is he going to King's Landing?
I have no idea where he's going. He may be going back to Winterfell, for all we know.
Because he probably thinks that that's where Bran is, and that's where. Does he know that
he may? He may very well. They send the ravens and stuff. He may know that the Boltons have taken it over. I really don't know.
I have to go. I'm starting to go back. I've already watched the first season.
Which Sansa and Brienne, they're on their way to the wall. So I'll be interested to see if she meets up with Jon on the road.
That'll be interesting. If they get into trouble and he just shows up and saves the day, that'll be badass. Right. And that'll be a huge moment of oh my God.
We haven't seen them together in a long time.
Right.
I really like how they're showing us the backstory through Bran and the Three-Eyed Raven, giving us this whole history of Ned Stark and subsequently his siblings, Lyanna, which that's a huge fan theory, is that Jon Snow is actually the byproduct of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen. And we got to hear a little bit about brother Maester Aemon. Aemon Targaryen was there at the wall, and I believe he was recounting, how gentle and how kind Rhaegar was, and how he was such a nice person. And we've heard some backstory about how Lyanna was given a rose at the tournament by Rhaegar. She was supposed to be marrying the person who ended up being king, Robert. She was supposed to be marrying Robert. The story goes that everybody knows that she was taken by Rhaegar to the Tower of Joy, where we actually see in this last scene, she is raped and subsequently dies there. Ned finds her there dying and offers her basically one last pledge or one last wish or whatever. Mm-hmm. I forget how you put it, but everyone's theory is that, well, okay, we've heard that this guy was actually nice, from his family. Everyone seems to think, and there's some kind of mystery here behind Jon. Ned was very faithful. He never went to whorehouses, never. So it seems odd that he would have had a bastard once he was, because at this point, when Jon was born, he was already married to Catelyn. She was pregnant, I believe, with Rob, the oldest. Mm-hmm. So it seems out of character for him to have had this bastard child while he was off at war. It happens. He may have thought he wasn't going to live, things like that. But it seems
they talk about that in the first season.
That it seems out of character for him to.
Well, no, that because they reference his whore's name or whatever several times or whatever.
I thought they said they didn't know who it was.
No, it was on
because Jon doesn't even know who his mother is or where she came from or.
Right, but I could have sworn that they talk about this on like when Ned's coming back to King's Landing with the king, obviously, and they stop off and they're having dinner or lunch or whatever, and they're talking about it. I don't know. It could be.
But no one, at least from what I remember watching and reading, no one seems to know who this mystery person was that birthed this child to him. So everyone's theory is that it actually is in fact his sister's child. She was not raped by a Targaryen, but went with him willingly. When he found her was ill, had the baby and was dying, and he promised to take care of her. Now, knowing that Robert was after killing all the Targaryens because they were a little crazy. The Mad King was, into killing people and stuff. They were killing every Targaryen. We know that they killed off some of the children. So had anyone found out that this was actually a Targaryen child, he would have been killed.
Right.
So his final pledge to his sister being, okay, I will say that he is mine, and I will raise him as my own.
Right.
That is the major fan theory, which would be huge. That would make Jon actually heir to the Iron Throne.
Right.
I think even over Daenerys, I believe.
Well, because he's an older brother. Wasn't the older brother?
Right, but I don't think they'd be brothers. I don't think Rhaegar was her dad. I think her dad was the Mad King, maybe.
Oh.
I'm not really certain. And I think it goes male succession versus going to the female anyway. But at any rate, I said that way too much. It certainly provides some interesting speculation, especially now that he's been brought back to life.
The dead king.
We've already seen that the White Walker King has some interest in Jon. He kind of,
Right.
I think he knows that he can maybe defeat me. There was some interest there. He wasn't just like, oh, there's another normal human.
Right.
And then there's this possible Targaryen, which we've seen Daenerys. She's she can live through fire, and she's got some kind of power to her as well.
Right.
So
This is a good episode. You got a lot of really good information.
yeah, the season is really, I think, one of the best seasons so far.
I think the biggest question I want to know is where's Jon gonna go? Like that's the $1 million question. He's got so many different ways. You think he's going to Winterfell?
Possibly.
I mean, he could. I mean,
I don't know why he would go to King's Landing.
I need to. Well, I would assume to avenge his father's death and all that. But the thing is, everyone that put his father down is already dead.
Right, and that happened such a long time. I think he has other.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't even know if he has an agenda yet. I just think maybe he knows that he's not meant for.
Well,
the
wall.
Whatever they call that, the Black brother, the brothers, whatever they're called.
Oh, just the Castle Black.
Right.
Oh.
What are those guys called?
I don't know. I mean, I think
Night's Watch.
Night's Watch. There you go. I think since he had to make that hard decision, I think it's just like, you know what, I'm gonna take my leave.
Well, and he made the decision about letting the wildlings in. It caused him to essentially get murdered,
Right.
and a big rift in the people who were there in the castle. So I think he's really questioning the decisions that he's making.
Or he just might be like, you
how
know
they
what?
affect others.
Or he might just be like, I died, and now I'm back, so my oath is over. So, peace out.
I really liked having sex with that one girl. I
I'm
really
gonna
don't want
go
to be in.
find.
Yeah.
Right, I'm not making that mistake again. Fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find a whorehouse.
Yeah. No, I think he's really questioning some of the decisions that he's making. Why he's been brought back. He's been given this second chance. And what is he going to make of himself?
Right. Okay. So we're gonna talk about Deadpool.
Okay.
You liked it, didn't you? You liked that
Why
movie?
do you want to rub that in my face?
Because I wanted to go see it in the movie theater.
Well, I wouldn't want to pay $20 for it.
Oh.
Or $25, how much it costs a movie. It's hard for me to find a movie I really want to spend that much money for to pay in the movie theater. When you can pay $3 to watch it at home.
Months later.
What does it matter? The
everyone
movie's still the same.
everyone was having conversations at work that I could not be a part of.
Oh.
And I would walk over while they were
I'm
having
the-
those
I'm the-
conversations, and they would have to be like, "Oh, Joe hasn't seen it yet."
I was the only person at work today who had seen it.
Well, I won't even go into your work. Anyway, I thought it was a really good movie. I think it was it's very comical. I wasn't aware that Deadpool was part of the X-Men universe, so that was kind of eye-opening for me. I'm not really big into comics, so I don't know all that intricate like storytelling. But yeah, I thought it was really a really good movie.
Definitely not a movie for kids.
God no.
Not your regular superhero, not your Spider-Man or your Batman movies. Very graphic, gory, and like sexually. Like you see a lot.
You see boobies
You do.
and butt cheeks.
Yes. And then nasty wrinkled butt cheeks after he's had no oxygen. But anyway.
Aw, wrinkly,
Poor Ryan Reynolds.
wrinkly butt cheeks.
But no, I mean, the actor that plays Deadpool, I like him. He's a good actor. He seems like a really genuinely kind of a good guy in real life too, from what I've read about him. He just has a new baby actually, he and his wife.
Oh, is it wrinkly?
Probably most babies are when they come out. Not quite like
Not
the
that wrinkly.
avocado having sex with an older avocado.
Not willingly.
More like hate sex.
More like hate sex. Oh,
Although I don't think they use the word sex. I think they were maybe a little more graphic. But anyway.
Oh, but yeah, it's out on DVD now and Blu-ray. So go pick it up. It's awesome. So yeah, it's a great movie. All right, so we're gonna jump into some E3 rumors real quick, and then we'll close out the show after that. So Microsoft mentioned in an interview that they have for their E3 press conference some unannounced games that will be releasing in 2016 and 2017. They didn't say what. They just said they were unannounced games.
Hey, we're releasing games.
Well,
really, you're a gaming company.
No, the significance of this is that they're releasing unannounced games in 2016.
Okay.
Like we're halfway through 2016. Like it's generally like you don't get you're like, hey, this is E3. These are games that you're going to play next year and the year after. Like it doesn't really you really don't get that type of announcement.
Okay.
So I'm really interested to see what types of games those are. I have a feeling Alan Wake will be in there now that the team that did the original, they're finished with Quantum Break. I think that's the next thing that they'll be working on. I don't know if it'll be 2016 because it took them for goddamn ever to get done with this one. But Alan Wake was a much shorter linear game than Quantum Break, I think. So it might not take nearly as long. I don't think we'll see a new Halo because the Halo 5 just came out in winter of last year. I'm trying to think if there's anything.
Maybe it's something totally new and not part of a franchise.
Right, something new would be good. I would really appreciate something new. You know what I want them to bring back? I want them to bring back Xbox Arcade. Like they really don't. I mean, they have like Xbox Marketplace, but like that's one thing that 360 had that was like super awesome. Like there was just a bunch of arcade games that were like $15 or less, and full-fledged great games. Like Explosion Man was in there, Limbo was in there. What are some other ones? Peggle was one of them. I mean, there's a whole bunch of those, and Missplosion Man. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of these really cool, Castle Crashers. That was an arcade game. I want them to bring back this arcade. Like,
What's the difference?
Like right now, it's just like it seems like they just release games whenever, and they just go up with like the full titles or whatever. You don't have like a separate like, okay, this is the $60. Like if you want to go buy a $60 title, this is where you go. And this is like the more arcade. These are the more like, you know, I don't know how to explain it. So
So you want a bargain bin?
no, not a bargain bin, but I just want them separated out to where they have their own like light or whatever. Like I feel like they get overshadowed from time to time. So I don't know. The other thing that they mentioned is that there's rumored is going to be a new controller and a new console, an update to the Xbox One. Sony didn't announce, but Sony's been releasing information about this PlayStation Neo or whatever, which is like a graphical upgrade or whatever. It could do like 4K television and shit like that. And it's and one of the biggest arguments is if Microsoft follows suit, they're gonna segment their audience to where games released after this new system are going to not require this updated system, but will run better on the system. So therefore, anybody that has a Xbox One is going to be running an inferior copy or whatever. So they feel like they're going to segment the audience. In multiplayer games, are you going to be able to cross-platform Xbox One with Xbox 1.5, stuff like those questions come up quite a bit. Personally, I think we're going to see an Xbox One Slim. I don't think there's going to be any additional. I don't think there's going to be a graphical increase. There's not going to be any of that stuff. I'm kind of the vein, and this is a prediction it's online, so it's not my own. But I'm of the idea of they'll release a slim model for like $200. Like the Xbox One is $250 right now. They'll repackage it smaller, sexier, $200. They'll go the lower route where PlayStation's saying, "Hey, here's our PlayStation 4.5 at $400, better graphics, better output, faster load times, bigger hard drive, stuff like that." And they went up in price. If Microsoft was smart, I think they would go lower price. Because right now Sony's
You'd have to take something away though, so you still have people buying the original.
What do you mean?
To make it less price, I mean, you'd have to get rid of something.
Eh.
I mean, why would they keep an Xbox One at original price, but then release something that's the exact same, just smaller, which everyone kind of wants anyway, at a lesser price?
Well, they really stopped making the regular Xboxes once the Slim came out. So it's just kind of like the nature of consoles at this point. Once they've been out for so long. I mean, the Xbox One's been out for what, 2 years now? Just a little bit over 2 years. I don't know. You think they would go all digital? Maybe would they take out the CD drive?
I hope not.
It'd be interesting. Because you wouldn't be able to play any of your games. You'd have to download, which actually
So it would require a larger hard drive.
Right. Well, which actually, to tell you the truth, you already download them anyway. Because when you put a game disc in your system, it forces you to download that MFing game to your hard drive, which is linked to your Xbox Live account. What if that's? Would you be okay with a system that's the size of like a like that?
It would probably have to be bigger though to have that kind of hard drive space.
Yeah, it would just be basically a hard drive, motherboard, fan. I don't know. It would be interesting to see. I think the bigger hard drive, smaller profile, decreased price. I think that's where it's going to go. So. And the last thing I wanted to mention last week, we didn't have a podcast last week, is Respawn announced on May 4th that their next title after Titanfall 2 will be a game set in the Star Wars universe. So my question is, are we going to have a shooter heavy game, because Respawn is the people made up of Infinity Ward people, developers and designers. Are we going to have like a Call of Duty Titanfall type of Star Wars game where we're shooting, shoot? Or are we going to have like a close combat, kind of like The Force Awakens, Because one thing that I think it was on Joystick that they, or not Joystick, God, where did I read that at? I think it was Game Informer that was talking about it. Said that Respawn has hired the lead designer from the God of War series. This was a few months ago. Yeah, so God of War, the God of War series is badass. It kind of is a liken to the Force Unleashed series, so I think that's a good way to go. Non-shooter, just melee combat, force powers and things like that. Or the other thing that they could go completely different route would be the ship combat, and I think that would be kind of a neat approach. I like ship combat; that'd be fun. So I don't know, something to think about, but I'm sure that could be something that we will see more of, maybe at Microsoft's press conference, an unannounced title for 2017. Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. So it'll be fun. So do you have anything else you want to talk about? Nope.
No.
Ready to go? I'm gonna go play some Battleborn and hate on it some more. Grr. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching. Let's see here. You can watch us live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. I know today's Tuesday, but yeah.
Today's Thursday.
Today's Thursday. Good God. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/BC podcast. You can watch all of our old shows archive on youtube.com/72dpi online. Our website is 72dpionline.com. But yeah, we'll be back next week. I'll probably have a more thorough review of Battleborn and how terrible it is, or maybe how good it is. We'll see. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.
Bye.